8 years ago, I reviewed my first foot massager. Since then, I reviewed a handful more, so I thought I would make a video just talking about foot massagers. What are the same with all foot massagers? What are some of the differences? The things you should know before you get one. There are some foot massagers that massage your feet and your calves, or there are some that are just kind of like a platform and you put your foot on it. For this video, I'm going to be talking specifically about this style where you put your foot inside and it puts pressure on top of your foot, and then it has balls underneath that massager foot. The massagers I'm going to show in this video, they're made by RENPHO. They were kind enough to send these massagers to me so I could test them out and make this video. But the things I'm going to talk about in this video are kind of general things that you should know about all foot massagers. Before I talk about all the similarities and differences with these types of foot massagers, let me just give a brief introduction for how these work. There are two main components to these massagers. The first thing is that there are some airbags that go over your foot and around your foot. They are compressed with air, so they put pressure down on your foot. The other thing is that under your foot there are some balls that either rotate or move or turn in some direction. There are actually quite a few different styles that you will see, and it's important to know what style you will get before you get your foot massager. The best thing I can recommend is go onto the Amazon product page. Usually there are different images from the seller, and most of these foot massagers will have a specific image where they give kind of a see-through view of what the balls are and how they actually work. You need to look at that to see if it's the right style for you. The styles I've seen are, one, there's kind of like a rotating style that's like a Shiatsu or kneading style. It's balls that just kind of rotate like that. Another style I've seen is a rolling style where it has this plastic roller, and on the roller there are some bumps that will kind of go up into your foot or your toe. Another style is where the balls basically just go up and down or back and forth, or kind of a combination of the two, or do that at an angle. So that's kind of like your thumb kind of pushing into the arch of your foot or your heel or something like that. And the last style I've seen is simply just vibration, where it just kind of vibrates your foot. And a feature that seems to be universal with all foot massagers are they generally have some sort of heat. Usually doesn't get super hot, but it does get pretty warm. And overall, I think it's relaxing and nice. Some you can just turn the heat on and off, and some have different intensity levels. So before you purchase one of these foot massagers, here are the things that I think you should look out for. The first thing is, just as I mentioned, look for the style that you think is best suited for you, whether you like that Shiatsu rotating head or the rollers or the up and down. It's going to be different for everyone. For me personally, I really like the Shiatsu where it just rotates like that. And again, go to the Amazon product page, look for the pictures, see if it will show on the diagram what combination of styles they have. One thing to be aware of is some massagers will massage your toe, your arch, and your heel. Some only do your toe and your arch. Some only do your heel and your arch. Just be aware that there are a lot of different combinations. Think of what you think will be best for you and go for that. Another thing to consider is the weight and size. For example, this has kind of like a hard shell material like this. It makes it really lightweight and fairly compact. That makes it easier to store. And what I like about the weight is I can go on my recliner chair and just put this on my feet, put my feet up, and it doesn't weigh down my feet a lot. Whereas if you have one like this is kind of a hard plastic. It weighs a lot more. This one I don't want to put on my feet on a recliner chair. It pushes down too much on my feet, and you can see it is bulkier. And I think a part of the reason for that is this actually has rollers inside, so the rollers take up some more space. So that's something to be aware of with the styles. Certain styles might make it a little bit bigger, but going along with that, because this is bigger, it's actually a little bit deeper where you put your foot in, and I feel like it puts more pressure all around your foot. It feels really nice. So that might be one advantage to getting something a little bit bigger like this. Another thing to consider is the controller for the foot massager. Now, they're all going to be more or less the same here on the unit. They're usually going to have buttons for different intensities, or for the heat, or for the time, or for the mode. But really the thing to consider is some foot massagers come with a remote, some do not. And this unit in particular, this actually works with voice commands. I don't know if I've seen that with any other foot massagers, but personally, I really like the remote. If I'm watching TV or if I have the massager under my desk, I don't want to bend over and press the buttons here. I want to use a remote. All of the buttons on the remote are the same as the unit. So if you're looking at a couple options and they're basically the same price, one has a remote, one doesn't, I would recommend going for the one with the remote. From my research with foot massagers, some of the things that seem to be the same with every unit you can get. One thing is that these foot covers, they can unzip, you can take them out, you can wash them. All foot massagers seem to have that. Another thing, all foot massagers in this style have air compression and heat. At least I wasn't able to find any that didn't have those. And all units that I looked at, they also have some sort of auto shut off with time. Usually it's around the 15 to 30 minute mark. The things that I have found to be different with the different massagers, probably one of the main ones is the vibration mode or style. Maybe about half of the massagers I looked at have vibration, the other half do not. I've had my wife test out a bunch of foot massagers with me. She doesn't like the vibration. I do. That's just something to be aware of. Usually if it does have vibration, it's going to weigh a little bit more or be a little bit more bulky. Not necessarily, but just something to consider. The other major difference is just with the style of massager on the bottom of your foot and the combination, whether it's on your heel and your arch or your arch and your toe or all three and what style. Again, you're just going to have to go onto Amazon, look at the picture. Usually they don't describe what the massage is like. So you'll have to look at the picture and decide what you think is going to be best for you. And if you've never used a foot massager before, I realize you're probably not going to know. But again, me personally, I really like the rotating Shiatsu. It's the most relaxing and comfortable. Some of the others, especially that go up and down, when you have pressure on the top of your foot, can be a little bit painful to me, but the Shiatsu I think is just perfect. So definitely not a bad way to go there. And as I mentioned before, the material can be different. You can have a hard plastic or you can have more of a hard shell if you want something lightweight with the hard shell. If you want something bigger, deeper, maybe a little bit more sturdy, then go with the hard plastic. The last thing I want to mention, I don't think this is much of an issue anymore, but back in the day when I was reviewing foot massagers, there were a lot with holes here that weren't big enough for my foot to go all the way in. All of the massagers I've tried in, I think the past 4 years, that hasn't been an issue, but it is worth looking at the size for the massager. Make sure the massager actually fits your shoe size. Of all of the massagers I've been showing in these clips, my favorite one is this one. The reason I like this one so much is it has the Shiatsu massaging on both the toes and the arch of your foot. I just think it's super relaxing and super nice. My personal preference and recommendation for a massager, if your foot can fit something like this, then I do recommend the more compact and lightweight massagers so you can put your feet up and relax while you watch TV on a recliner chair. I also do really like the massagers with remote. It's not a huge deal, but it is really nice that you don't have to bend down to change the settings or anything like that. Hope this video helped. Thanks for watching.